Greetings and welcome to another powerful edition of the Community Defender Talk Show. One powerful hour of truth in a day of falsehood. I'm your host, Brother Darrell Muhammad, and we're so glad that you have tuned in to tonight's program. Of course, tonight's topic is right in line with everything that's going on, and that topic, of course, is just because you vote, it doesn't mean that you're free. And our people have been enslaved so mightily by the Democratic Party, believing that the Democrats are their salvation, yet year after year, we never get saved by that Democratic Party. And we were told that if Ronald Reagan won the White House, that we would never survive, that he would end all possibility of success for black people. And then after 8 years of Ronald Reagan, we were told that, look, if George Bush gets in, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, George Bush got in. And then we got Bill Clinton. And we were so happy that a Democrat from a southern state had finally won the White House. And then he signed the crime bill and did welfare reform and did other legislation which has made it increasingly difficult to keep our families together. And it was the legislation that was signed by a Democrat, which has been the most destructive of all legislation to black people. Let me go ahead and take this call. I don't know how to answer this phone. Let me see. Yeah, go ahead, caller. You're on the air with the Community Defender. And please turn your television down, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm from New Iberia, man, and we got a serious problem out there, bro. We got, shit like the end of the world coming to, bro. Police, they laid there and they convicted 10 officers, but we still got the sheriff. For whatever reason, they found him not guilty. We got state police, man, it's like in our hood, man, just jacking us up, getting us tickets, doing all kind of just terrorizing us, bro. And you were saying, I heard you, that Brother Darrell, you were saying about the situation with the presidents for generations, say, bro, it's getting worse, bro. Don't nobody have our best interests at heart, man. And it's like, something happened the other day. It really switched the vote dealing with the federal trial in Shreveport. Two officers, bro, high-ranking officials, they got there and lied, bro. But not only that, some woman just self-appointed from the NAACP, the NAACP, she got up there and testified as a carrying witness for the sheriff. Say, bro, man, they've been sending us to prison, setting us up, robbing us. Man, ever since I done did 2 Joseph. I done had 2 15-year sentences, bro. Don't get me wrong, I'm not no saint. You understand what I'm saying?
None of us are, brother. None of us are.
Say. It's been gangsters, man. Gangsters been running this city for the longest, bro. And see that woman right there? She lied, bro. And, it's sad, but we don't have no representation. We don't have no voice, bro. We got people with this plantation thinking, man. It's like they give them a few dollars, brother. It's like they just, it had to be money involved in this shit. But not only that, bro. It's nothing for the youth to do in New Iberia. Nothing. They about 2 summers ago, they just took the pool, man. Took the pool and put just cemented out. They got a guy, a world-renowned musician by the name of Buck Johnson. They just recently, for whatever, demolished his park. Just, people hang out, talk, barbecue, have a good time. It's like, man, it ain't never been this bad, bro. And we don't have a voice. Nobody is saying nothing or doing nothing. We suffering in silence. And we got a real serious violent problem going on in the city right now. It's like the one in our west out there, man. And people really scared. And let me tell you something, I ain't scared of nothing. But lately, bro, man, I get the heebie-jeebies just riding through my hood. I just really be getting bad feelings, bro. This is America, man. It's supposed to be America. But I really understand the history of this country. And I got enough sense to know ain't nobody gonna fix our problem, but we got to fix our own problem.
Come on now.
I really understand the history of the country, bro. We just the whole history is based on rape, robbery, and murder. So you can't look from help from them people.
Bro, I would have to agree with you, caller. I definitely appreciate you calling in and voicing your concern. And I think that this entire 5 parish area, which is listening to you now, needed to hear what you said. We were actually going to get into the issue with Sheriff Ackle and how he was acquitted of all charges by a jury. But we know that, the enemy does lie, and that every verdict that's issued by a court is not a true verdict. In fact, many of them are bad verdicts. And so we know this already. We're going to kind of delve into it. And definitely, brother, I appreciate you calling in right off the stop, right from the beginning, and setting the tone, brother. Thank you, brother, for that call.
All right, man.
All right, my brother. Now, of course, that caller was very passionate about what he was saying about the dissatisfaction that many of our people are feeling. I believe he represents not just himself, but probably thousands of other people who feel the same way, who feel hurt that Sheriff Ackle was found not guilty. And of course, in the advocate, which we sometimes call the devil's advocate, they actually have as a headline, "After Trial, Sheriff Confronts Racially Split City." Well, there's a person in here, a lady by the name of Hippolyte, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and how she became disenchanted with Ackle for all of the things that he was saying. And one of the things she says was that Hippolyte's disenchantment reached new heights last week as she followed Ackle's federal trial on allegations of civil rights abuses, recalling as one deputy after another took the witness stand and described a lawless culture in which officers assaulted black people for sport, allegedly with the sheriff's blessing. The sheriff played by his own set of rules, the deputies testified, condoning jailhouse beatings and encouraging other misconduct. And then one person testified, "I was untouchable." Wade Bergeron, a disgraced former narcotics agent who pleaded guilty to civil rights charges and agreed to testify against his former boss, told jurors in the U.S. court, "We could pretty much get away with anything." Now, it also says that jurors rejected the government's claim that Ackle countenanced these abuses, acquitting the sheriff Friday after a week-long trial that was moved from Lafayette to Shreveport because of pre-trial publicity. So what he did, part of the rigging. Now, some of you believe, particularly in the Caucasian community, you believe that the election is rigged against Trump. And you can believe that a rich billionaire has a system rigged against him. But you cannot fathom that we as black people have a whole system rigged against us. That poor black folks have a system that's rigged against them, but yet you believe and are saying in social media that the system is rigged against a billionaire named Donald Trump. But it's impossible for a poor black person to have a system that's rigged against him or her. So just the whole perception that you have. Now, what this was, plain and simple, beloved family, was what we call jury nullification. When you nullify something, you cancel it out. I don't believe there was any deliberation that went on when they went to supposedly deliberate. Because after a week-long trial, to go through all that evidence, it probably would have taken you at least a day or two if you were really going through all of those counts that were against Sheriff Ackle. If you were really going through all of that, it would have taken more than 4 hours. And it goes all the way back to Emmett Till, where there was overwhelming evidence against the murderers of Emmett Till, who was taken in Money, Mississippi, kidnapped and sodomized and castrated and brutally beat to death. And the jury went in, they had a trial, they went out, they smoked a cigarette, they came back in, they said not guilty. That's in effect what happened. These people probably went, ate some gumbo, and said, let's let this good old boy get back to his good work of keeping the Negroes in control, under control, I should say. That's the bottom line. That's what you're dealing with. And now we see these Bundy boys who took over the wildlife refuge and had an armed takeover. They were also acquitted by jury nullification. Let me see if I can grab this right quick. Go ahead, Carly, you on there with the community defender.
Good evening, Brother Darrell. I just want to call in and chime in, my brother. Being the director of the community defender for so many years, I had to get onto this show. Because Brother Darrell is talking that a case, with the case of Sheriff Abbott, was so profound. It was the strongest case that ever was presented by a government, the federal government on any law enforcement official from around the country. According to what many has been saying, I've been consulting with a lot of people, a lot of different talk shows, a lot of different legal experts. Our sister in Baton Rouge, who teaches at Southern, we talked about it. One of the strongest cases. Now, how could the feds screw up this case with Sheriff Abbott? Brother Darrell, you got to ask your question. How could they screw up a case? It's almost like it was rigged. I mean, if you want to use the Donald Trump word rigged, it was rigged from the beginning when you saw the media wasn't no urgency in the local TV to say the black. Everything about this case was so troubling, despite the fact that you had that many high-ranking officials testify against this person. I would like to think that his connection with the Western District, the federal Western District, had something to do with it, Brother Darrell, because you remember his cousin, who was the chief judge of the Western District. Many law enforcement departments have relationships with the feds in the South because they have to keep prisoners. They have to do a lot of, let's say, undercover secret things with the feds pertaining to law enforcement. And I like to let people know that this was rigged from the beginning. So don't expect any justice. Now, one of the only solace that we see is some type of oversight of law enforcement in New Iberia. But still, Brother Darrell, the most troubling aspect is the wholesale sellout of the black community by certain individuals within the city of New Iberia, such as the head of the New Iberia NAACP, Brother Darrell. That is so troubling to have that image, that picture that's being put across social media by Channel 10 concerning her relationship. And he introduced the woman to the media saying that's a good friend of his. So this lady was supposedly leading a group that was heading protest against this person. So he sort of fixed a long time ago, Brother Darrell. And I myself, as an activist, going to rethink all my association with certain activists from across the board, because you can't trust nobody. But the people who are going to lose is the city of New Iberia. Brother, there's a number of shooting of young black men, unsolved murders. It's almost like you got bad law enforcement and you got bad policing. It's like, let everything happen. We don't give a damn. So the politicians, the black politicians in New Iberia didn't speak out. The clergy in New Iberia didn't speak out against him. Nobody spoke out publicly against this person because what? He has that much power. But, you know, there's righteous people from this area, this South Louisiana area, for continue. And I would urge you guys to rethink the association with groups like the NAACP until they come and confirm what this woman did. So that's just my comment, Brother Darrell. I'm kind of upset now because I live and I vote in that district, and to see this stuff happen over the years, Brother Darrell, some numerous years we met you on a talk show in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, talking about law enforcement in New Iberia. And nothing has changed from the time we talked to you. This is what happened so many years. Brother Darrell, I definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much, my brother.
And the thing I want to say, though, brother, is that we met in like 1998, and it is now the year 2016. So you're looking at over 18 years ago, we began to deal with things as they were occurring in that same area of the state. Now I want to get right into racist language, which is also in the paper. At a time of growing national discussion of police brutality, ACO's proceedings stood out not merely because a sitting sheriff found himself on trial and facing federal prison a year after he won re-election. Rather, the government's case was remarkable for the sheer number of deputies who admitted to wrongdoing and implicated their boss using bluntly racist language in doing so. 10 deputies pleaded guilty, including Bergeron, who told jurors about a time in 2008 when he and 2 drunken colleagues randomly targeted and beat up 2 young black people ages 16 and 22. So it just lets you know, and it underscores the point that they're just openly admitting that they're just targeting black people for abuse, and that this sheriff is right in line with it, loves it, he's the head of it, he's running it, locking it all the way down, and all of that was done. And that's why I think that this is a case of what you would call jury nullification, where they simply don't deliberate, they ignore the evidence, and they come to the conclusion that they want to come to, which is not guilty. This system has never punished white folks for their abuse of black folks. It never has, and it never will. That is why we have advocated the things that we have on the Community Defender Talk Show, which many people have said are radical. But the bottom line of it is, when you have a radical problem, you need a radical solution. And that solution is going to involve us taking control of our community. You're going to have to be willing to die to be free. A lot of us have gone to Iraq and died. A lot of us have gone to Afghanistan and died. But you haven't died for freedom because you're still enslaved right here in the state of Louisiana. You've gone everywhere to fight for freedom that you never get, and people are still, after all of this, and it's up to you what you want to do, but you're still joining the Army. You're still joining the Marines. You're still joining the Air Force. You are still lending the force of your being to a system that is absolutely designed to keep you down and to eventually kill you. That's the bottom line. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with death itself when we deal with America. And the idea that a system would punish a man who does what the system wants him to do, which is to keep black people in their place, I believed, as a brother director believed, that we would probably get an acquittal, because that's right in line. Keep in mind the Bundy brothers, who made a terrorist move, who, when an armed rebellion took over federal land in violation of federal law, and they were acquitted. And people say, well, what evidence they have? They went live stream on audio talking about their crimes and talking about how they were going to stand up against and not obey the federal government. That was live stream. They went online with their crimes, and it was seen by hundreds of thousands of people and heard by hundreds of thousands of people. That's just how proud of their criminal activity that they were. Yet they were acquitted, the Bundy brothers. So it just goes to show you that they had guns, and nobody just came in with guns blazing and killed them. Yet our young men who are unarmed wind up dead. Fernando Castillo, who told the officer that he had a gun and that he was licensed to carry, he winds up dead. Michael Brown shot in the back of the head, he's dead. Trayvon Martin dead. Other people dead. Eric Garner dead. Sandra Bland dead. But these guys, who you see right here on the screen, they continue to live and are acquitted and are free. Not only are they alive, but they're not even in jail. And that's the way the system works in America. Now, you all and everybody is poised as a community to vote for Hillary. Everybody from Steve Harvey to Tom Joyner to D.L. Hughley, everybody is on that same page of voting for Hillary. We don't want Donald Trump to win. We thought that Bill Clinton was the first black president, some of you. And Bill Clinton damaged the black community with the legislation that he championed more than any other president in the history of the United States, what I would say in modern time. because James Monroe did some things, George Washington did some things. But when you look at this situation, you have basically a demon in a face-off with a demon. Devil on devil, Satan on Satan. That's what you're dealing with. And like I say, you should exercise your right to vote. But keep in mind, just because you vote doesn't mean you're free. And look at how much black people defended Bill Clinton. When Bill Clinton had his scandal with Monica Lewinsky, where he was being serviced under the desk in the Oval Office, and the Republicans went out and went crazy. And keep in mind, they were very upset at Bill Clinton. But they are supporting Donald Trump, who says that he just grabs women on the genitals. That's what they're supporting. The other piece to it, and there's so much hypocrisy. They are talking about Hillary for 30,000 emails. And again, I'm not a Hillary fan. I'm just pointing out some hypocrisy. But George Bush and his administration had 30 million emails sent by the Pentagon, the State Department, over years that were subpoenaed by Congress, and they came back and said, we can't find them. We can't turn them over. First, they sued for executive privilege. Then when they had to give them to Congress, then what ends up happening is they said they lost. We can't find them. So when you're talking about 30,000, and let's look at it mathematically. And I have some fraternity brothers that are very good in mathematics and computers, and they can tell you that 30,000 is one number, but 30 million is 1,000 times more deleted emails than 30,000. So when these Republicans say they are so upset at the emails, no, you should have been upset at George Bush's 30 million emails that he made sure that he did not give to Congress, which says in the emails that he knew there were no weapons of mass destruction. And when the Republicans say that they are upset that 4 Americans died in Benghazi, and we must get to the bottom of it. I mean, you don't want to get to the bottom and actually go in and prove and let it be known that Bush lied to start a war that killed over 4,000, almost 5,000 American troops, but you're so concerned about 4 Americans that died in Benghazi, but not the nearly 5,000 that died on a lie in Iraq? Straight up hypocrisy. These people do not have any principles. That's what you got to understand. There are no principles. We do not have anybody in jail right now that has lower morals than the 2 people running for president. The brother who called in and said that he did some time in prison. These 2 people should have been in jail in your place. Both of them. Both of them have a criminal past. Both of them have a criminal past, a racist past, both of them. And somebody said, well, you shouldn't talk like that so close to the election. Trump might win. It doesn't really matter, because if after what Bill has done and after what Barack Obama has failed to do, it might as well. You mean to tell me a black man didn't submit the legislation, but yet and still a white woman is going to submit it? I mean, come on. And let me just say this. Barack Obama is a good-hearted brother, but he is not using his power to aid the people in the proper way. Let me give you some ideas of what he has the power to do as president. Number one, everybody that he talks about who is in jail for non-violent offenses, who's never committed a violent crime other than the possession of drugs, and they've been in there 2 decades. He could simply give them clemency and let them out. He writes in his book, one of his books, I don't know if it's, I don't know which book it was, but he's written 2 books, where he talks about the fact that he used cocaine as a youngster. George Bush, his friends have come out and said that he was on cocaine and he was a drunk. So both of the last 2 presidents possessed cocaine, for which a lot of the people who are in jail cannot get out cannot get from under their criminal record, yet the last two presidents admittedly have possessed cocaine. So why be a hypocrite? Why not just pardon 100,000 people? Or if you're afraid of the political backlash because of cowardice, you could simply take all of the people that have been out for 10 years and have not been rearrested and pardon them so that they will no longer have a criminal record. You could take 200, 300,000 people who are already out of prison and relieve them of their criminal record so that they can what? Compete for the supposed jobs that you're creating in this economy. It's an idea, and it won't cost you a thing. Then you can save money by letting a lot of these lifers who got sentenced to life in prison at 20, life in prison at 17, you can simply give them clemency, which will save $30,000 a year for every year they would have lived. You can let if you really are serious about reducing mass incarceration with the stroke of a pen, they can be out. But it's not going to happen because everybody's just talking. And those who have the power to do don't have the heart and the will to do. That's just the bottom line. And Hillary's not going to be any better. If whatever we didn't get from Barack, you damn well better know you're not going to get it from Hillary. And you might say, well, Donald Trump, he's a racist. And so is Hillary. Hillary campaigned for Goldwater. Goldwater was against the Civil Rights Bill. He was against the Public Accommodations Bill. And he campaigned on stopping civil rights. That's what he campaigned on. And he lost the election, I believe it was to Kennedy. But the bottom line of it is she wore Goldwater girl pins. She campaigned for a racist senator out of Arizona who campaigned on keeping you and I from getting our rights. That's how she got her start in politics. Campaigning in a racist, anti-black campaign. Now, you don't think that in her formative years that has formed her mindset? Now, keep in mind, the memo that was hacked, the DNC already said meet with the activists of Black Lives Matter, but offer no support for their agenda. Acknowledge the systemic racism. Have a conversation with them. But at the end of it, make sure that you don't do anything to further their righteous agenda. And you don't think Hillary knows about that? The plan is to let you run your mouth in a meeting, serve you some coffee, make you feel like you're meeting with people, and then send you away and don't do a damn thing about the real problems that are going on. That's the game. That came out in the media also. And some of y'all are still, man, what about, look, at least with Trump, what you see is what you get. Hillary is a doggone liar. He's an open racist. She's a private one. The same with her husband. He was a private racist. And because he was a private racist, he signed the worst legislation. Worse than Reagan. Worse than Bush. Put more of us in jail than any other president. It was a Democrat. And some of you do not have the courage to tell the Democrats to go to hell. And the Republicans, the Republican Party also, to go to hell. Because both of them are anti-black parties. One open, one acting like they're your friend. One playing good cop, one playing bad cop. But it's still white supremacy is at the root of it. Bottom line, you don't have nothing if you are unwilling to unify with yourself and your own people. You'll go vote for a Democrat, a policeman will pull you over, shoot you when you're unarmed, and you'll be dead right after you vote unless you unify. You don't want to unify. The same church where Dylan Roof went in and shot and killed 9 people, they let him in and prayed with this white man. And the same church disallowed the Honorable Louis Farrakhan from speaking at that church after they let the white murderer in. We are making the wrong damn decisions. And it has taken 2 years and 4 months to set up a speaking engagement where wisdom could be given to the black people of Charleston through the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. 2 years and 4 months before he was able to speak in the city of Charleston because Negroes were so scared. You weren't afraid of these other, and look, they let other white folk in the church after the 9 people got killed by the young white boy. They continued to let white folk speak at the church. And instantly the media said, are y'all going to forgive them? Can you believe that? I mean, after Timothy McVeigh did his thing, did the media bring up forgiveness? White folks always want to plant it in your mind. Anytime they abuse you, they want to plant this whole corrupted idea that they say is from Jesus of you forgiving them. But when the Twin Towers fell, then it wasn't talking forgiveness. When Timothy McVeigh did his thing, they strapped Timothy McVeigh in and they killed Timothy McVeigh. They killed their enemies, but they want you to forgive yours. Understand that you've been a slave for too damn long. And see, at the Community Defender, we're going to tell you the truth. You might not like it, but we're going to tell you now. According to what we hear, we got an NAACP president that has a close relationship with an abuser of black people. Now, what have we advocated? How is it that a sellout can come in your church? Some of y'all, if the Honorable Louis Farrakhan or one of his ministers came to New Iberia, you wouldn't let that person in your church, even though they never sold you out. You let the white boy in there, he killed 9 people, and you kept letting white folks come into the pulpit. But check this out. Why would you let a sellout in your church? Why would they feel comfortable in the community? This brother called in and said he get the heebie-jeebies. When somebody sells the black community out, they should get the goddamn heebie-jeebies. It should not be a situation where you feel unsafe in your community. Whoever sells our people out should not feel comfortable. Whoever they are. I'm not singling out anybody. I'm just putting it out there, a principle. Why would you let them in church? How can they sit in church and sing Amazing Grace with you and be comfortable like that? They should be shunned everywhere they go. They should be pointed out. That's a sellout right there. If you see them in Walmart, that's the sellout. You should tell your children that is the sellout that is selling out the future of our people. Whatever elected official it is, whoever it is, whatever Uncle Tom pastor it is, they should never rest. If they're at the restaurant and you see them in there, you should say that is the sellout Negro. Go to his table and drive him. But you're unwilling to do that. You play with these Uncle Toms. And because you play with them and white folks give them money, and you play with them, and you clap to their music, and on Sunday, you're going to get the same thing. When you're loyal to your own, you do not aid and abet anybody that is against your own. So if you aid another nation who's at war with America, they call it treason. And according to the Constitution of the United States, which is the only thing in the Constitution that I remember, that where the death penalty is mentioned specifically in the Constitution for treason. That's just how important it is. And with our community, and I'm not saying we should do anything to anybody, but we should definitely shun them. They should definitely not feel comfortable. They should not be able to continue to just be there and ride around in whatever car that white folks have bought for them and just be around, hanging out. You understand? Socializing, going to the debutante ball with their daughter. You should shun them. And until you're willing to do that, you're in some serious trouble. So if you all are saying that a president of an organization is linked up with somebody who's in charge of brutalizing and killing black folk, and they hanging out, or if it's true that they testified for someone, then everywhere you see them, you should be like, who is that? What are you doing in here? When they come to church, you should stop them in the parking lot and say, why are you here? If that's true, that's my opinion. You can do what you want, but my opinion is that all people who sell us out should be shunned in the black community and should not be given solace and comfort among our people when they sell us out. You can't hang out and be cool with the Klan and cool with Darrell Muhammad. It's not gonna work. You can't be all cool with the murderers of our people, all chummy with the brutalizers of our people, and at the same time hanging out with Darrell Muhammad. It shouldn't be that way. And each and every person in the community needs to make that individual decision. I don't know the truth of it. I wasn't in the courtroom, but if that's true, that somebody testified on behalf of a killer of our people, then you got to deal with that. Go ahead, caller. You on there with the community defender? Go ahead, caller.
What? Yes, sir. I'm just listening. I want to let you know that I'm white, but I cannot even imagine the fact that this man got off.
Yeah, it's called jury nullification. The killers of Emmett Till got off. Bundy, the terrorists, the Bundy father and son, and those with them, they were totally exonerated. It happens all the time in the United States, all the time. And so.
Well, I want to let you know, as a white person, that I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I just can't even believe it. The whole parish. It's ridiculous. Liberia Parish, all in general.
No, I thank you for your caller, ma'am, and continue to advocate justice wherever you may be and wherever you may go, even among your own people. All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Just
God bless.
To let you know I was on your side on that. Okay.
We definitely appreciate it. Make sure that you're an advocate though for justice, even among your own people. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You as well, ma'am, and we definitely appreciate that call. And again, some things are just that ridiculous. So the only thing I'm going to tell you is, as a principle, you have to shun those who are not right. It's just what it is. If somebody is in office, you have to get them voted out of office. If they come to hang out or they come to a social event, you have to disinvite them. You have to keep them away from you and make sure that they are as far away from you as the East is from the West. And then you have to take over the NAACP and vote those kind of people out. Make sure that they never get in charge of anything. So the people really have the power. Once you decide that you're not going to have Uncle Toms over you, they won't be over you. But as long as you go along to get along, don't get involved, I mean, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get sellouts. And unless you watch people when you vote for them and you hold their feet to the fire, you're going to get the same thing. So if Hillary wins, if black people do not call her out, just like Black Lives Matter called that witch out, if you do not continue to call Hillary out, and she does not know that she will not get reelected, hey, she's not going to do anything for you because you sat down and you shut your mouth for 8 years because you didn't want to criticize the first black president. And now you're expecting, after you looked at a black man for 8 years and kept your mouth closed because you didn't want to look bad with a first black president, and now you got a white woman and some of y'all are expecting her to do what the black man didn't do. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. You better think about this thing. And if you got so many Uncle Toms, who's supporting them and why are you hanging out with them? That's my question. Why are you hanging out with Uncle Tom? Why are Uncle Toms and Thomasinas all around you then? What is that? Like, certain people are not even around me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't even deal with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't deal with people who do certain things, and those people are just not around me. I don't have any Uncle Tom friends, any Uncle Tom associates at all, because I make that choice. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have anybody that around me that's poisoning my community. I don't have that because I made a choice not to deal with those people. And when I see those people, sometimes I call them out. When certain laws pass, I call my representatives and say, hey man, I'm looking online and you voted for this. Why did you vote for this? Some of them lied and said that somebody grabbed their voting machine and voted for it. I had matter of fact, Kip Holden lied to me with the insurance impound law, and of course I believe it's a lie. And he said that he really didn't vote for it, that somebody had voted on his vote machine. whatever little apparatus they have in the legislature. That's what he said. He didn't even admit to voting for the insurance impound law when I got him on the phone. This was way back before he was mayor. I was jamming these Uncle Toms up. And that's what you need to do. Bottom line. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. You on there with the community defender.
Yes, sir. I'm a Republican generally. I don't know the candidate, but I'm in more agreement with you than I am with the Democratic Party. They're all in line. I watched their party membership meeting last week on AOC. All Democrats have gone up. They're all pro-choice. They're all pro-LPG. They're all up and down the line with the pro-abortion, pro-homosexual agenda. Yet they're going to churches, primarily black churches, and the pastors let them go in there and talk. And I was wondering what your opinion was about that. Thank you, sir.
A lot of times, I'm not in favor of killing children before they're born. I'm also not in favor of killing grown men after they're born. So I'm not in favor of Victor White being murdered. I'm also not in favor of a child in the womb being murdered. And some of the problems with Republicans is that you all for somebody when they're in the womb, you're pro-life, but then just kill them and beat them and murder them once they get out of the womb. So we have to be pro-life inside the womb as well as outside the womb. And that's the position that I take. Now, as far as preachers, preachers are many of them are in this thing for money. They preach for money. They're in this thing for notoriety and money. And in politics, there's money. So they will invite somebody that is in direct contravention with Jesus and what he taught. And one of my Facebook posts today, I said a man that many Christians will never follow is Jesus. That's one man that many Christians will never follow, and that's Jesus. And that's with the preachers, that's with everybody. Because do unto others as you have them to do unto you is not the domestic policy of the United States. It's not the foreign policy of the United States. It's not what most people believe should be done in America. The actual principle that Jesus taught on how you live your life is not something that the majority of Christians has as something that influenced their opinions. Their opinions are not informed at all by the words of Jesus. And it's down the line. If I talk to Christians on what they believe about what should be done about this or what should be, because many of them are voting for somebody. If you're voting for either one, whether it's Trump or Clinton, both of those people are not in line with Christ. They're not in line. If you're a Muslim, they're not in line with the fairness and the judicial practices, the fair judicial practices of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. They're not in line with Moses and the prophets. Neither one of them. So just laying it out. Now I wanted to read something, and it's telling because the director and we talked earlier today, and he was livid with anger that ACO could be acquitted with nearly a dozen high-ranking officers testifying against him. And many of us were convicted. Many of you have relatives who had one crackhead testify against him. One snitch, jailhouse snitch, testify against him. He's doing 25 years to life, and they don't even have any physical drugs or anything. They were just named, thrown in jail on a trumped-up trial, and many of these people are doing a life with almost no evidence. One crackhead. You're talking about 10 actual law enforcement officers testifying against this man, and he's acquitted. Yet somebody who's poor, and keep in mind, the public defender that many of the people that ACO arrests or his officers arrest, he didn't use that public defender. He got him some high dollar lawyers. So when they tell you that your public defender is a fair trial, when these cops get charged with something, they never use a public defender for some reason. It's okay for you as a poor person undercharged, but for some reason, whenever they get charged with something, they go buy a $600 an hour lawyer. Isn't that interesting? That what's right for me, it doesn't seem to work too well for them when they're in that situation. Just something to think about. Now I'm gonna put this out here like this, okay? And keep in mind, I want people to shun, okay? leadership that does not work in the best interest of our people. We don't have to do anything against the law or violent to anybody, but you certainly can use your First Amendment right, and you can let them know what you feel. And as a pastor, you can lock the door on anybody that sold our people out. As members, you can agree, we don't want to deal with you. If somebody who's an Uncle Tom comes into your business, you can throw them out. So you can do those things, and you can legally do those things and shun the wicked sellouts in our community, whoever they may be. I don't know who they are, all of them, but whoever they may be. Now I'm going to read you this. This is from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who taught the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. It says, leaders, and I've read this maybe 20 times, we the black nation today with knowledge of truth cannot accept leaders made and offered to us for our guidance. I warn each of you to no more accept the white man's made or chosen leaders for you. This is what has kept us bound in the mental chains of slavery since the days of slavery. Our leaders are by their choice. These kinds of leaders are Uncle Toms who are licking the boots of the white man for his pleasure and wealth, regardless of what happens to you and me, for they care not. Just laying it out there. That right there is divine guidance from God's messenger to the black people. Don't accept made leaders for you. Now, we only have a few moments on the program. On a lighter note, right quick, because I'm not really into sport and play because we got serious issues, I do want to congratulate the Jags for handling the business in Houston, Texas against Texas Southern. You know I am a Jaguar fan. I love the Jags. I love Southern University. And, of course, I want to, of course, send a shout-out to the members of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated who are always in the community, locking it down, doing good service, doing good work, and keeping the dialogue on a higher level. So I want to definitely thank y'all. Now, the other thing is getting right back to where we are. It looks like in a poll of likely voters, according to a CNN poll, that Donald Trump in a four-way race is at 45%, that Hillary is at 43%, that Gary Johnson is at 7%, and Jill Stein is at 2%. Those other parties are pulling away from Hillary Clinton. And so the thing is that without a good black voter turnout, she can really lose this race. It is up to black folks whether they put her in or not. It was black people, because the majority of white people didn't vote for Barack Obama. But it was that 97% black support that put Barack Obama in the White House. And, of course, we really didn't get anything except the nice image. And it's a beautiful image of a beautiful black family in the White House. But other than that, we really didn't get much out of that. And it'll be the same way with Hillary if you have the same thought in mind of not holding her accountable for all that she's done and all that she promises to do. Again, if we don't come out and vote for her, she will lose, and Donald Trump will be the president. I personally am not, as my self-respect, I cannot vote for Donald Trump or Hillary. My self-respect as a black man and as an enlightened person who studies and reads books, I can't do it. I can't do it. I know that God is going to be on black people's side regardless of whether Trump or Hillary gets in. I know we're going to be on this planet Earth forever. Nobody can remove us. So I'm just laying that out there. I have faith in God. I don't care if it was Reagan, Bush, whoever it is. Whatever demon gets in there, as a black people, we're going to survive. Bottom line. It may be harder. It may be difficult depending. But the bottom line of it is we're going to survive. And my faith is not in Hillary or Donald. My faith is in God. I've already voted for God to be my ruler. And I'm definitely not going to vote for Hillary or Donald to be, because I already voted for God. I'm going to go to the polls because there are some local elections that I'm very interested in. But if it was up to for these two guys, ain't no way in the world I'd even get out of my bed and go over there. But there's some local elections with some people who are very good people that need our support that I'm going out to make sure that I cast a ballot for. And so to that end, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Community Defender. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for your output and your input. And we'll be right back at you in our next installment real soon. Going hard as usual on the Community Defender. God bless you, and kiss your wife, hug your babies. We got a few seconds. Kiss your wife, hug your babies, and enjoy that family life that God has given us all. And when you go out to vote, make sure you vote with knowledge. Know what you're getting. Don't be disappointed. Don't be disappointed. Just like with this ACO verdict, don't know what the system is going to do and understand it. And so may God bless each and every one of you and each and one of your families during this very trying time for black folks and for America. God bless you, and you know I love you. Assalamu alaikum.